cornerstone. They preach me grace with a ledger in hand, a cross on the wall, but chains in the sand. I learned your name, but never your face. Dragged into Sundays, dressed up in fake, stolen the shadows, fed on the filth. A mouth full of scripture, heart full of filth. And I grew teeth and I cursed the sky, called you guilty for the world's black eye. Made myself God in a faithless room, lit my pride like a funeral blue. I spread mercy, I mocked the light, still you watch me through the night. I ran so hard, I wore my skin thin, but hell was waiting from within. I sowed in the dark, now I'm choking on the harvest. Mirror full of demons and my soul went heartless. I begged for knowledge, I opened up the door, and something cold came crawling on the floor. I drowned in the lie, in the lust, in the blood, in a gospel of fear, in a chemical flood. But you wouldn't let me die, even when I screamed at the sky. Bad blood romance in a bed of knives, high on flesh, on rage, on borrowed life. Smoke in my lungs, needles in my pride, violence and venom where love should hide. I reached for judge when the fire got near, not out of faith, only panic and fear. Then I kissed the dark, I swore I'd hate, touched the craft that stalked my fate. Midnight glass, I made my vow, asked the serpent, teach me now. Then the house turned heavy, the silence bled, and I fell apart where I stood instead. I cried for the God I used to blame, but the seed was down and the harvest came. A body cold on the bedroom floor, and my mind split open like a broken door. White walls, locked words, another scream. 5 black years inside a dream. I sowed in the dark, now I'm choking on the harvest. Mirror full of demons and my soul went heartless. I begged for knowledge, I opened up the door, and something cold came crawling on the floor. I drowned in the lie, in the lust, in the blood, in a gospel of fear, in a chemical flood. But you wouldn't let me die, even when I screamed at the sky. I ran naked through the streets of shame, cut my flesh and cursed your name. Twice I reached for death's cold wrist, twice you broke the grip, and I still live. More false fires, more crooked altars, more dead words from polished pastors. I wanted the look, not the death of self, wanted the crown without losing myself. Then in the silence, alone, undone, a voice cut through like the rising sun. Not thunder for show, not a fevered sign, but a holy wound that redrew my mind. So crush what's false, burn what's mine, teach these bones to bow in time. I still shake, I still ache, I still fight the night, but now there is peace in the middle of the fight. In the middle of the fight, I sowed in the dark, but mercy broke the harvest. You stood in the mirror where the demons started. I begged for death, but you carried me through, past every lie that I sold as truth. Now I live in the storm, but I'm not alone. Grace in the mirror, a place to call home. And you would not let me die, so now I kneel instead of asking why. Instead of asking why. One chain remains, medicine in my veins, a thorn in the flesh, but not all the same. I walk with the scars, I limp, I pray, and find strange joy in a narrow way. No drugs, no altar of lust, no night without end, just a cross of war and the peace